I feel like I'm on a talk show up there. You get a car, you get a car. Well, that was a really awesome video. Thank you for that, and thank you for Jeremy's family for bringing him to this earth and raising such a great man. Jeremy was so kind and so caring. He loved everybody so much, and he was a big part of Freedom Store and what brought Freedom Store to where it is today. And he saved lives there, and there's lots of times when he's even saved mine. And I remember one time I was having a really tough day, and he worked in the admin office, and I sat there and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what's going on. And he's like, man, you're such a great guy. And 5 minutes before you came in here, you had this whole office laughing. He's like, you're just so kind. He's like, remember those moments. Remember the moments that you make people laugh, because that's the person we are, Travis. And I'm always going to remember Jeremy for those things, that he was always honest with me, and he was always there for me. And no matter what, and no matter what time or where he was or where I was, we could count on each other, and we could call each other, and you'd answer. And I remember one time, Jeremy had to leave Freedom Store, and we were sitting on the front step of his house, and we were both in tears, and he was really upset on what's going to happen next. And he's like, man, I think I'm just going to run. And I was like, well, Jeremy, like, you could do that, and you may be a lot bigger than me, but I'm going to tackle you. You're not going anywhere. Like, you have such a great life ahead of you, man. And I know that sometimes we tumble and it's hard, but he always picked himself up, and he always carried on, and he always tried his best. And those are the things I'm going to remember Jeremy for. And just before I finish, I remember one time Jeremy was traveling to see a band he really liked. They were called Alter Bridge. He's going to hate it for saying this, but if you don't know who that is, it's basically Creed. So I remember he was traveling there all by himself, and he had to rent a car, and he had to go to Seattle. And honestly, I was a bit worried. And I told him that, man, I'm like, that's a big trip to do on your own. He called me like every step of the way. He's like, man, I pulled over to say hi, look at this cool rock. I really like rocks, so he was taking me on this trip. And the excitement that he had in his voice when he got there, when he saw the band, when he took himself out for dinner. And like, for the people that know Jeremy, like all of us do, when he was passionate about something, his hands would fly, he'd be so stoked, his eyes would get wide, he'd get really talkative, and like he was like that for that whole trip. So it was just so great to see him like happy and doing the things that he loved, and those are the memories I'm gonna hold close about Jeremy. And he also had great hair from like day one, so I'm also pretty jealous of that. Thanks to everybody, and thank you for coming today.
Thanks, Travis.
Move this over. This is Jeremy's grandpa.
Am I going to reach?
Let's go like this. He's used to it.
I really have a loud voice. When you're a preacher, you really don't need a mic. But I first want to thank our pastor for his words today. They really blessed my heart, Pastor. And just a couple of words. My wife and I love to take Jeremy out from time to time. And if you knew Jeremy, there was one place in town he really liked to go. It was called the Asian Fair. He loved to go there. We went from time to time. And just before all this tragedy occurred, we had been at the Asian Fair and had dinner. And at that particular occasion, I had asked Jeremy if he would lead us in prayer, and he did. And when we went outside, and of course he was driving us around, my wife and I don't drive anymore, so he had to pick us up for our dinner. And when, just before we left to go home, he came over and put his arms around me, and he said, Grandpa, I want to tell you how much I love you, because I can always come and talk to you. Those are memories that I'll always cherish. God bless you.